Good morning, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us with Total Sports and Sports Science Collab. I'll be doing another 30-minute yoga flow with us today. Those of you who don't know, my name's Olivia. I'm an intern biokineticist and qualified yoga instructor at the Sports Science Institute. As I said, we're going to be doing a 30-minute yoga flow today. All you're going to need is your mat and yourself. And we're going to start in a seated position in the center of your mat. So finding whatever seated position is comfortable for you. I like to have my 1 foot over, but you can have it be in a normal seated position. As long as it supports a straight spine, both sit bones grounded into the mat. So we're going to close our eyes for the first few moments of the class, just grounding in. So either lightly close the eyes or just take the gaze down. Get the feeling of grounding both sit bones into the mat and create a slight opening in the chest, so slightly draw the shoulder blades together. The feeling of lengthening up, so growing a little bit taller, so sitting up nice and straight. So it's quite an active posture here. You're not just slumping in, we're sitting up nice and straight. Hands are resting lightly on the knees. And we're going to start by drawing attention to the breath as usual. So not altering or changing anything just yet, just monitoring how the breath is feeling right now. Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it quite deep or shallow? And slowly but surely trying to lengthen the breath, so lengthening the duration of the inhales and the exhales, calming us down and helping us arrive in the present moment. So now might be your time to set an intention for your practice. This is your 30 minutes you've set aside for yourself, so just maybe thanking yourself for giving this precious time to reconnect with the body and the breath. Feeling the belly and the ribs expand as we inhale and contract as we exhale. Let's take a couple of breaths together. So nice deep inhale through the nose. And let's exhale side out. 2 more. Inhale through the nose. Pausing at the top. And let's exhale through the mouth. Last one. Inhale through the nose. Pausing at the top. And exhale through the mouth. Gently open the eyes. And we're going to draw the hands to the shoulders to start off with. We're going to think about opening up the chest as we draw those elbows together back behind us. We're going to inhale, sweep the elbows together, maybe they touch, coming up. And as we exhale, coming all the way back, squeezing the shoulder blades as we come back. Inhale, coming forward. And as we exhale, rounding back. So nice big circles. Sinking in with the breath. Inhale. And exhale. So just warming up in that shoulder joint. Keeping the spine up nice and straight. And let's reverse that direction. So coming all the way back. And elbows touch as we come down. Inhale as we meet. Exhale as we roll back. Good. Keep it going. Nice big circles. Last one. And both hands come to the ground. Planting that right hand and reaching over with the left hand. You can take a bend in that right elbow and really think about stretching this whole side body. So don't let the shoulder roll in. Keep it nice and open. Maybe you take your gaze up. Other side. Feeling the stretch all along the right side body now. So if you want a deeper stretch, you can lean further over. But if you quite early in the morning, you're feeling quite stuffed, then you can stay higher up. So just meeting your body where it's at today. And come back to center. We're going to do a couple of those dynamically. So inhale, reaching over. Exhale, coming back. Inhale, other side. And coming back as we exhale. Keep it going. Exhale, coming back. Inhale. And exhale, coming back. One more either side. Inhale. And coming back. Last one. Reaching over to the left. And coming back to center. Left hand comes to right knee and planting that right hand behind us, behind the lower back. So really firm through the palm of the hand, pushing into the ground to create some length in the spine. Then think about twisting from the belly, from the ribs, from the shoulders. And then lastly, taking the gaze over that right shoulder. And using that left palm just to push a little bit into the knee to get us further into the twist. So quite early in the practice, make sure you're meeting your body where it's at. So taking it to the appropriate level and not overstretching too early. And slowly unwinding first the head, shoulders, ribs, and then the belly. Other side. Right hand comes to left knee, planting that left hand behind the lower back, pushing into the earth and grounding through both sit bones. Twisting from belly, ribs, shoulders, and then taking the head over to the left. Nice deep inhales and exhales that really helps you melt into the twist. One more deep breath in. And as we exhale, head comes to center, shoulders, ribs, and belly. We're going to come into a child's pose now. So take the knees nice and wide and big toes together. And I want you to really melt the chest between the knees. Surrendering here, so forehead comes to the mat, arms are resting nice and heavy. And think about the upper body being heavy, dropping through the knees. So getting a nice opening in the front body and the back body. Walking the hands all the way to the left. Right hand can come on top of left hand. Feeling the stretch on the right side body into the lats. And other side, coming all the way to the right. Left hand on top of right. Breathe into that openness in the left. And all the way to center. Bringing the knees a bit closer now, so hip width distance apart. Hands below shoulders and knees below hips. We're going to go through a couple rounds of cat-cows to mobilize the spine. So as we exhale, rounding through the spine, dropping the head. Something different here, pushing the glutes all the way to the heels. And as we inhale, I want you to slide your chest as you come forward, drop the belly, and start to straighten up the elbows as you look up. Exhale, rounding into cat. Just think about pushing into the earth, and as you push, you lower down to the heels. Inhale, scoop the belly across as you come forward, straighten the elbows, look up. And last one, let's reverse that, pushing into the earth, pushing through shoulder blades, and coming all the way to the heels. Dragging the upper body against the mat as we come forward into our cow. And lastly, coming to neutral spine. So setting us up for a nice neutral position, so it's nice and stable through the four corners. We're going to extend that left leg out here and back behind us. So flex the foot and make sure that the hips and the feet are squared to the mat. So you're not tipping your hip up or down. So you can either stay here, or if you want an extra challenge, start to lift the left hand. So you'll notice you will come out of balance a little bit. So you'll be sitting way more into that right hip, and look at a non-moving spot so you can keep that balance. Good, and turning open. So opening up to the left now. And you can turn your shin in just a little bit so that you can get a solid base of support here. Dropping that left foot and reaching that body up. So we're getting a nice stretch all along the side body here. So pushing into that right palm. Good, and turning that the right shin just in a little bit and coming up so that we're balancing on the right knee and the left toes are facing forward. Good. Left hand comes to the left knee as we reach over to the back of the mat. So lots of side stretches here this morning. Good. Right hand comes to the floor as we take the hand over by the ears. You can either take your gaze up or straight ahead or down, depending on how the neck's feeling this morning. Good, and using that core to bring us up to a kneeling position. So hands in T. And taking the hands behind us, interlacing the fingers, roll the shoulders back and down as we try to bring the hands away from the lower back. You can take your gaze up and get a little bit of a back bend here. And releasing, coming back to all fours once more. We're going to repeat that on the other side. So remember, the balance isn't easy. So you can always use one hand on the floor, one foot on the floor, just to get the balance right. And we're only there for just a second. So this time, her right foot goes back. So think about pushing through the heel. Imagine the heel is pushing a wall behind it. Hips and feet are squared. And then here, looking at a single spot, lifting the right hand now. Try catch that balance. I know it's not easy. And then opening up to the right side so that shin can turn out just a little bit. So you're opening up the body to the right. Good, and then dropping that foot, reaching that torso up. So we're like a banana shape with the body. We're reaching up, stretching along the sides. And using that core to bring us up to a kneeling position here. So I'm going to turn around so I'm facing you guys. Good. This time, right hand comes to right knee and we reach up and over. And left hand comes to the floor, reaching the opposite direction here. Bringing ourselves all the way up, using those side oblique muscles. And interlacing the hands behind the back. Roll the shoulders first. And as we try and lift the hands away from the lower back. So getting a stretch all along the front side. Releasing that bind and coming onto our all fours once more. Taking the hands a little bit further away from the bodies, tucking the toes, spreading fingertips as we lift sit bones all the way to the ceiling. So you can take some pedaling with the foot if you need, stretching out the hamstrings and warming them up. So whatever movements you feel like you need right now.
And then coming to a place of stillness. I want everyone to bend in the knees and rotate the sit bones up to the ceiling. And then slowly start to straighten the legs. So what you want is the feeling of rotating upwards and getting a traction and length along the spine. Taking our gaze forward, we're going to walk up to the top of the mat nice and slow. So you can take a bend in the knees and come up to the fingertips if you need. Feet are hip width distance apart. Nice generous bend in the knee. And we're going to grab hold of the elbows and just rock from side to side. And dropping the hands. Bring the feet together now, so big toes together, heels slightly apart. We're going to sweep the arms up as we root to rise, lifting the hands up by the ears. Tuck the lower ribs in, tuck the tummy, squeeze the glutes and then the thighs. So we're nice and active here. And think about reaching towards the ceiling, spreading the fingertips, palms facing each other. Inhale. And as we exhale, bring the hands to the side. Recenter. Making sure big toes are touching, heels slightly apart. We're going to come into a chair pose here. So bending at the knees, sitting nice and low, sweeping the hands up by the ears. So think about sitting more into your heels and on your toes. You should be able to lift the toes. Draw those shoulder blades back and draw the belly button into the spine. Good. Holding here. Try and sit a little bit lower. And as we exhale, we fold over the legs. Remember, you can always keep a bend in the knee here. Planting both hands, stepping the right leg back and the left leg, and pushing into our down dog. So recenter here. Make sure you're comfortable. Grounding into the left heel, reaching that right leg up. Bending the knee and opening up that right hip to the right side. So try and get that knee as high as possible, so engaging our glutes. Looking forward to the top of the mat and step that right leg all the way through the hands, so the hands are framing the foot. Drop the left knee, reaching the arms up. Tuck low ribs. Good. Reaching up here. And sweeping the arms down. Coming up onto the fingertips and try and sit a little bit lower into that stretch. So lean a bit more forward. So you'll feel a stretch in that left hip flexor here. You could always ease up if it's too intense. Good. We're going to hinge at the hips. Start to straighten up the right leg and walk the hands back. So if you don't get all the way straight, that's fine. Try and get as straight as possible, and you can come up to the fingertips and not too much rounding in the upper back. So I'm keeping a nice straight spine. Trying to scissor the hips, so putting a little bit more weight into the right hip. Feeling a stretch on the back of the right leg. Good, and then walking the hands forward into our low lunge again. So this part gets a little bit tricky. You're going to step onto that right foot here and come into a balance, grabbing hold of the left foot behind the back. So we're coming into a standing quad stretch. So try and keep the knees together here and tuck the tailbone, so we're pushing the hips forward, and you'll feel a stretch all along that front thigh here. So push that pelvis forward. And keep rolling shoulders back, so we're not rounding too much in the upper back. Good, and hugging that left knee to chest now, so bringing it forward. So keep pulling nicely to chest and pulling those shoulder blades back as we do that. Keeping grabbing hold with the right hand. You can either stay here or you can do an open twist to the left, so bringing that left arm out and twisting the torso so that we're facing the left side. Keep breathing nice and deep. And let's release that exhale. Recenter, big toes together, heels slightly apart. We're going to sweep into that chair as we take a nice deep inhale, sweep it up. Hands by the ears, tucking those low ribs in, sitting nice and low. Weight distributed in our heels. Keep breathing. Sit a little bit lower. You should feel those thighs starting to burn. One more deep breath in. And let's exhale, folding over the legs. Planting the hands here, stepping right leg back and left leg into plank. Let's hold here for 2 breaths, so pushing through the shoulders. Tuck those low ribs and tuck the tummy in as usual. So we're feeling an engagement in the front body. And then pushing through the base of the fingertips, lifting the hips all the way up. Grounding through the right leg, reaching left leg up. Bending the knee and opening up the hips. And taking our gaze forward and stepping the left leg between the hands, lowering the right knee, reaching up, coming to a high lunge. So trying to rotate that right hip forward, so we're squaring the hips to the front. And bringing the hands down, fingertips. And remember, trying to sink a little bit lower here, so getting that hip flexor stretch. So bringing the chest a little bit further forward and leaning a bit more weight into that left knee. Walking the hands a little bit further back, straightening up the left leg, coming to a half splits. So remember, always option to have a bend in the knee. And try and bring those toes up to the ceiling just a little bit. It just intensifies the stretch a little bit. Sitting a little bit more weight into that left hip. Walking the hands all the way forward. And remember, taking our balance here, so transferring the weight into the left leg here, and then coming up to that standing quad stretch, so grabbing hold of the right foot, staring at one single spot in front of you. Roll shoulders back and down, so you're creating an opening in the chest. Tuck that tailbone, so try and reach the hips forward and engage the glutes. It just intensifies the stretch. And try and keep the knees as close together as possible. Keep breathing. And then hugging the right knee to chest, so bringing it forward. Remember, engaging the back side of the body, so slightly drawing shoulder blades together. Keep staring at that single spot so you don't lose your balance like me. Good, and keeping hold with the left hand and reaching over to the right, so opening up, twist to the right. Remember, you don't have to do this, it's an optional optional challenge. So try and twist the torso open to the right. And slowly releasing hold of that. Stepping the feet out wide. So just over hip distance apart. And we're going to squat into our yogi squat here. So bringing the hands to center. So engaging the glutes, so you'll feel it's a little bit easier to keep the knees out. Hands will come to heart center so that the elbows can just push the knees out a little bit. So you can be on your toes here, whatever is comfortable. And try not to round the upper back, so keeping open in the chest and keeping the spine as straight as possible. Hands come to the floor, and they can come right behind you so that you can sit back. Hands right out in front of you, roll shoulders back, and let's slowly roll down one vertebra at a time, starting with the lower back, the mid back, the upper back, shoulder blades, and then the head. We're gonna bend both knees and cross the right leg over the left, reaching between, so threading the needle and either grabbing hold of the shin or the back of the leg. You should feel a stretch all along that right outer hip. Make sure the head and the upper body are completely relaxed on the mat. So we're not tensing up the neck here, we're completely relaxed. And start to slow down the breath as we cool down. And switch over other side. So this time crossing the right leg over the left leg over the right, reaching through, so either grabbing hold of shin or the back of the thigh, whichever is possible. Just make sure that the head and shoulder blades are relaxed so they're not straining. One more deep breath here. And slowly release the hold. Start to straighten out both legs in front of you. Feet hip-width distance apart. Toes flap out to the sides. And rest the hands out besides you. Palms facing up just so that we can open up in the shoulders and relax the shoulders down. Make sure the head is comfortable. And you can lightly close the eyes here. We're going to slow it down. Begin by noticing the rise and fall in the belly. Not trying to change the breath, just noticing what's already there. Every exhale, releasing one part of the body that may be tensing or tight, holding. And moving up to noticing the ribs, the expansion and contraction happening there. With every exhale, allowing the body to relax a little bit more. And a couple of moments here in silence just to ground and relax the body. Deepening our breath, so creating a bit more energy and waking us up. fingers and the toes. Reaching up, take a nice stretch. Maybe you want to take a yawn. Whatever feels good. Maybe a side stretch. And exhale, relax once more. Rolling onto the side of the body and pushing ourselves up to a seated position. Once again, crossing the legs, hands on the knees. Thanking yourself for taking this time to connect with your body and do something kind for yourself today. Deep inhale through the nose and exhale it side out. Gently flutter the eyes open. I hope you have a great rest of your day, that you move freely and peacefully. Thanks for joining us, Sports Science and Total Sports today, and please make sure you're keeping tuned into what we have in store. We have Happy Moms happening at 12 today, so if you're interested in that, please check it out. Have a great rest of your day. Namaste.